Hello again, my name is Richard Hardiman, and this is part of a series called the Gematria of Genesis. Today, I would like to look at Ishmael, and I've denominated him as the forgotten son because he's kind of discarded in terms of Judaic literature. But let's first go back to the background to this story of Ishmael. As we know, Sarai was barren, unable to give birth, and she suggested to Abram, as his name was, that to take her maidservant Hagar, and that he could have a son through her. And indeed he does, and a son is born. And the moment that son is born, Hagar acts with pride. Sarai gets very upset, and there's enmity between the two, and Hagar flees from her presence. But God tells Hagar to go back because her son is going to be a great nation. She does go back, but when after the change of name of Abram to Abraham, Sarai to Sarah, Isaac is born, again there's enmity between the two. And this time she flees with her son Ishmael, who's 13 years old, and she goes into the desert. In the desert, there is no water, and then an angel comes and reinforces that Ishmael will become a great nation. And so, what I want to see here is what is the relationship between Abram, because Abram was the father of the Jewish nation, of the Hebrew nation, and here he has a son. So there must be some significance there in terms of the history of Judaism. If we look at the Gematria of Abram, it comes up to 243. And if we look at the Gematria of Hagar, it comes up to 208. And if we do a summation of these two names, we come up to 451. And this value is exactly the same as the name Ishmael. And let's say from a geometrical perspective, this would suggest that there's some meaning here, there's some intention that Hagar and Abram are together and that they produce a son. So if we look further, we see that God informs Hagar that he will become a great nation. He will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand will be against him. So clearly a very strong person, very violent, that he was circumcised at the age of 13, together with all the other members of the family and maidservants, manservants of the family of Abraham. Ishmael has the term gathered unto his people when he died. Now, this is a particularly interesting term. Gathered unto his people is the first or the only instance that we get in the Bible that there is some kind of afterlife. And it's applied to Abraham was gathered unto his people, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, Aaron, and Moses. So only 6 persons have creditation that this term is used to them, that they are gathered unto the people. Ishmael is included in that group. Not only that, but there's another term which says, and these are the generations. And after this term is used, there's a whole list of the generations of that particular person. And these are the generations, was applied to Adam. It was applied to the sons of Noah, to Terah, to Ishmael, to Isaac, and to Esau, and to Aaron and Moses. So again, an important aspect in the whole genealogy of the Judaic literature. We're told that he will be a great archer. and the 12 princes will come out of his loins. And in fact, they do. He has 12 sons. What is interesting about Ishmael, and we have to bear in mind that Ishmael's mother was Egyptian. Hagar was Egyptian. So he had a dual nationality of both being from the Hebrew race through Abraham and through the Egyptian race through his mother Hagar. And as a result, he was a trader, and he had this dual nationality, and he traded along the trade routes between Egypt up as far as Damascus. He became integrated into the family of Esau, who was also like seconded or a second son in terms of the Judaic genealogy. So his daughter, Ishmael's daughter, married Esau, and basically the two of them became the fathers of Islam. But what was the importance of Ishmael? And I'm now going forward into the story of Joseph, where we know that Joseph was sold into Egypt by his brothers, and he was sold into Egypt by the Ishmaelites, who were traders at that time. And the Ishmaelites were basically the great uncle of Ishmael. And we know from the story of going down to Egypt that 70 souls went down to Egypt and 600,000 souls came out of Egypt. So basically, Ishmael, or the Ishmaelites, were the agents of change that brought Joseph and the entire family of Jacob down to Egypt, and basically fulfilling the commandment, which is be fruitful and multiply. And we're going to discuss this in more detail, but just very briefly, the term be fruitful and multiply in Hebrew is pru-u-rabu. And if we add up all the letters of pru-u-rabu, it comes to the number 500. 500 is beyond the 400, beyond the letter Taf, beyond the realm of this world into the next world. But we're going to discuss all that in another session. But here we have the importance of Ishmael in the whole genealogy and the history of Judaism and the Hebrew race. So this is what I want to say today. Again, all this is available in my book, The Gematria of Genesis. You can find it on Amazon and also through my website, thealeph.info. Thank you.